So let's go ahead and start talking about some blitzes and start off with cross three fire. This is one that definitely has a really nice capability of getting to the quarterback, something that we're going to want to set up and do early in the game so we can set up some of our defensive coverages based upon it, and also a blitz that we're showing, two different blitzes as we show later that start off in cross three fire and then go to different defenses, okay? So what we're going to do here is start with this. And the way we set this up is we're going to base the line. We're going to crash our defensive line outside. And then what we're going to do is we're going to blitz all. The reason why we blitz all is that these guys are already blitzing. We just need this guy to blitz. So it's just easier to remember blitz all than to blitz what side. So I just blitz all. And then from there, we're going to quarterback contain. Now, we're going to do some stuff with our coverage. We're going to do that first, and then we're going to do the blitz. But just to show you the blitz, I'm going to move this guy over this player, and I'm going to man him up on the running back. I feel that if you want this to be the most consistent, you want the running back to be on the left side when you're running the stock, because you want the slanting linebacker to come towards the running back and make him choose, do I have to cover the cross blitz or I have to cover the guy who's on the outside, in this instance, which is going to be 52, right? So I'm going to go ahead and put this here. I'm going to hold the left trigger, and I'm going to block the running back, okay? Now, what's key here is what's going to typically happen is if there's no tight end on the right side, we're typically going to get number 44 to come in. The reason why is there's nobody to really jam him off of his pressure, and he's going to get a free rein in there, and typically speaking, what ends up happening is 69 goes ahead and takes the player above him, which would be 97. 77, the right guard, is going to end up looking at the looper, and we're going to get that guy in. So let me show you basically what ends up usually happening with that. This time, it changed, which is fine. I want to make sure that you see that there's a lot of different things that could happen on it depending on the offensive formation. But what ended up happening here is we got the running back to have to choose, okay? They shifted all the way to the right. So 69 shifted, 77 shifted, which basically means that we're going to get this looper to come. Even if 66 is going to pick him up, what ends up happening is that basically the running back does not go ahead and block 52 until he sees 66 is picked up. And you can see that we're already at the quarterback, okay? So that's the way this blitz will happen, especially when there's a player on the left-hand side. So let's go ahead and check it again. This time we're going to do it a little bit quicker just to make sure that sometimes things don't work exactly the way they would normally work in the game, or just a little bit different if you wait in practice mode. And you can see again, these guys come flying in, right? Now that's this formation, right? There's other formations to where, let's see if we can find one here. That they'll come in differently just because of the way that the players are. So let's just do gun tight, right? Same thing. We're going to go here and do it this way. I'm going to move this guy up here, and we're going to block this guy. All right, and let's make sure that we're here, holding the left trigger. Let's see who comes in this time. Basically the same player. So that is the most consistent. There's a lot of times, to be honest with you, that I get the player on the right to come in because they don't shift. It all depends on, basically awareness. I'll do more of an open look this time and see if we can change it up here. And I just want to make sure that you see that we're going against different formations, different everything, and kind of look at it. So basically we're holding this guy here, and let's see what happens this time. Basically same thing. We're going to get that guy in and definitely went off a little bit. Let's check out a different formation, see if we could find... let's go with trips flex, and we'll go with verticals, and you're going to see that the running back's a little bit deeper in this situation, right? So let's see if that changes anything. All right, here we go, and we're going to move this guy down and hold this guy here, and let's see what happens. And we're able to get that guy in, right? So there's a good amount of time that when we're going against the running back on the left guy gets in. There are times that, and maybe it's because they're shifting their line. Let's try this to where they shift their line this time, right? And maybe that's where the player comes in on the right. But I do get this from the player on the right a lot. And that's why it's kind of hard to show you in practice mode all the situations. But maybe they shift to the left just because they've been getting it in. Let's see if that changes anything. Yeah, basically, you're going to see that we just got nano detected. Our guy didn't come in. But both those guys came off the edge, if you saw what happened there. So shifting to the left is just not the answer. So we're going to get this in a lot. Now let's just talk about how to set the defense behind it. Okay, so we're base aligning, crashing up. We are blitzing everybody. We're quarterback containing, and we're moving this guy down, right? But before we move this down, let's look at our defense. Depending on what the coverage is, depends on what I do. In this situation, I'm not really looking to set this up in a way to cover trips with a cover 3 with really not much, right? And the reason why I don't do that is because of the way that it's set up. I would go to a cover 2 here, which I would go to this player. I'd press down, 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 up, down, up, down, down, okay? Now you're in cover 2, and you have the ability to take this player and basically just cover the inside part when they're doing a type of seam, right? So I'm going to man this guy up, and typically what you're just going to do, and I don't know if I got, yep. So I'm holding it, this guy here. Now I'm going to go to the middle and basically cover, okay? That time I didn't get it full clean, and the reason why you didn't get it full clean there is because I didn't stay long enough. That's really the whole key. But in a cover 2 situation, unfortunately, sometimes you're not going to be able to sit there as long as you want because you got to cover. And you can see that I didn't stay in there long enough, and what ended up happening is they picked it up with 74. If I would have stayed there, 74 wouldn't have done that, and we would have been able to go ahead and cover. But we still got pressure in by the time they get there because of all that we're sending. Now, the second option is not to do cover 2, it's to stay in the cover 3. I want to show you a different type of look where, you can get away with this. They say a spread look, right? Spread look, you've got, the ability here to kind of go and say, you know what? I'm going to put this player in a curl flat. So I got cover 3 there. I'm going to put both my guys in deep halves. And then I know that I've got to cover the middle of the field to the left. Because I got the right covered, basically, right? So in this instance, what I'll probably do is kind of leave it this way, hold this, and I'm going to just hold my guy there for a second. And you're going to see that a lot of times you're going to get to that quarterback before they have to do really anything. Now, in a different setup, I'm just going to kind of show you some of the different ways that you can kind of do this. Let's go to Pat's Verts. And you want the running back to be on the left side most of the time. So I'm going to show you when it's on the right, okay? So what we're going to do here, all right. Now, this I can get away with the cover 3 method as well. A lot of times, or the cover 2, it doesn't really matter. A lot of times what you're going to do here is know that I'm going to want to move this guy up just to make sure that he's covering that. And I'm in this spot. I'm doing the same thing where I'm doing the same thing here. Even though it's going to the opposite side, hold that guy. And you can see how we still got that player off the edge because of the way that it came in. I do like it better on the left because I feel like he's going twice. But when the player's on the right, look what ends up happening. You're going to see that you're going to get that player coming off the edge. And 32 just gets late getting there. See how he just doesn't cover it? Because he's still looking for that looper. Just by holding those players, the looper is basically unblocked. Until he gets a player assigned to him, the running back will not cover him, right? So it's just something that you want to make sure that you noticed. So you just kind of go back and forth with it, right? So let's go to a different formation. I think trips ISO is going to be one that's going to have the ability to... Oh, he's still on the right. Okay. So we got trips to the right. Again, when we talked about trips, I don't like to stay in cover 3 on trips because I feel like unless I put this player on a hook curl and put him on over the top coverage, where I put him in over the top, he's going to play that zone a little bit better. So then I'll put the guys in deep halves. Then I'll go ahead and do it this way, right? It's just one of those deals that I'm going to move this guy to the middle of the field because I want to try to protect that as much as possible. And then I know that I'm just waiting for any type of cross routes to the left, especially if they're blocking the running back. If they're not blocking the running back, I don't have to stay there. I know my guy's going to get in because there's no extra blockers. I'm just going to go cover that guy to the left. If we do block the running back, I'm going to stay here for half a second, wait for this guys to come in. Oh, that time I kind of got the wrap around. But you're going to see that the pressure's coming. They can't stop this with one blocker. So because of that, you're going to have that ability to really give yourself the opportunity to kind of make something happen. Just trying to find some different formations here. I would not go into this if they're an empty. They coming out in empty and you've got this. You've really got a quick amount of players to basically come. So basically, I can blitz this guy. And I can do the same thing here, but I'm leaving this player over here in coverage. The reason why is because I need to have as much coverage on the field as possible on empty. So I can do the same thing. I could put my guy here, but I'm covering the left side of the field. When you do something like this, you can see that, you know, you're not going to get everything open because of the way that you don't have that player holding people. But definitely in empty sets, get out of it. Either, you know, you go into a different, cover 6. You can go into cover 4, where you go ahead and basically change up your defenses a little bit. But don't, in empty, do not stay in this, because you're going to be pretty open as far as that goes. But I'm just trying to figure out if there's any other formations that we could talk about here. We can go to single back trip, so you can see how it looked like under center, right? So we'll do the same thing like this, and you can see that you got two guys, basically 3 to the left. This is actually not a bad thing when you got trips to the left, because what you can end up doing is you can move that guy there, and you can leave the 3 rec hook, and you basically just put your players in deep halves, and you're pretty set, because you don't have to worry too much, right? So if you do in that situation, I'm going to put this guy and hold it down there, and you're going to see this time we got the outside player. And that's what I was telling you before. Depending on the formation, depends on what you're going to get in. You can see how quick that happened. All you're going to see is that this guy comes across, and we're going to be able to come flying through. Now, if you don't contain, you're still going to have that guy come flying through in that situation. So let me just show you here. And it's going to be a little bit quicker if you don't contain, but I feel like containing definitely helps you when it comes down to it. So let's make sure that we block our running back. We're going to do the same setup. I'm going to move this guy down just because I want this guy to make sure that we cover the inside part of that vertical in case they do something like that. And this time, actually, I'm not going to contain. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to crash up, no contain, and then I'm just going to hold this here. You can see with no contain, we got a lot of people in there as well. Okay, now, it doesn't happen always that way, but you can go back and forth depending on what you see, right? With the no contain this time, you can see that we took sharper angles, and you can see that 98 was, he just kind of block shitted. But the other 2 players were able to kind of get in, and we got all to the quarterback. Either or, like, the running back has to make a decision, and this time he chose right. So you can see how this blitz really works well. I just want to make sure that you understand that you want to be smart when it comes to how you set the coverage behind it. You can either do the cover 2 method, where you press down, 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 up, down, down, get to your player, right? And then you know that you've got to cover the middle. What's a little less consistent about that is that you have to bail out a little bit sometimes if they're running any type of routes. You know, if they ran something like this, where you can see that there's really no immediate threat to you in the middle of the field, then you just stay here and you're good, right? You can stay there and, you get somebody to the quarterback right away. If you got somebody that you see that's like number 17 or your tight end that goes straight to the middle against cover 2, then what you want to make sure that you do is make sure that you honor that. And when you honor that, that's what I was telling you before, where you're going to basically have an issue with staying in. So you hold it. Oh, he's there. Okay, let me get back there. And what you're going to see is that they're going to get there because you're sending a lot of people, and the angles that you're getting get there, but they're not going to get there as clean. So you do have to basically hold your integrity of your defense a little bit more. When you stay in the cover 3 coverage, you definitely have a better option when it comes to staying in the line a little bit to get the blitz in. But you definitely are having a little bit more holes if they try to go to the outside.